Good evening and welcome. It's Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, and you're watching Last Week Today. We're a compilation of the most important stories of the week from legacy and new media. My name's Chuck Black. My partner in crime, as always, is Richard Gagnon. Richard, how's it going?
It goes well, and it's a little chilly as far as I'm concerned, but it's nice out here. It's overcast, unfortunately. Let's get the sun out, please. But yeah, we're uh, it's reasonable, and so today there I just basically relaxed. I got
Well,
some
that's
firewood
okay.
in, yeah, and
What's the temperature?
temperature is looking like it's about 0 degrees right now.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and so now I've got to get my new UPS batteries, make sure they're charged up, and put them in, install them into my systems here.
Yeah, so we don't lose the power anymore.
Well, I don't think that'll make a difference. It just means that they're newer batteries, and they should be able to withstand more of the changes that occur.
Fair, cool, and groovy. You look well rested, relaxed, and raring to go. Do you want to go into our first piece?
Absolutely. Let's see what we got for tonight.
This is one you mentioned to me we needed to talk about. This is the story of the bombing. There we go. The situation between Iran, the United States, and Israel. And a lot of bombing, a lot of explosions, a lot of bad stuff going on out there. Now, according to the March 2nd, 2026 Daily Mail UK post, fury as Marco Rubio admits Israel forced U.S. into war with Iran. The worst possible thing, according to Rubio. Now, according to the story, the U.S. launched preemptive strikes against Iran after learning Israel was about to attack. And American troops in the region faced an imminent threat of retaliation. And this is a story pushed out by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio yesterday. And Rubio made the revelation on Capitol Hill, where he briefed a small group of congressional leaders on the joint U.S.-Israeli offensive yesterday, on Monday. Now, as of today, March 3rd, or day 4 of the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran, a lot of stuff's going on. First off, U.S. and Israeli forces continue intense airstrikes across Iran. They are targeting military bases, air defenses, ballistic missile silos, nuclear facilities, including something called NATAZ, which I think is fairly important, command centers in Tehran, and Iranian leadership. Now, most Iranian military installations are reported knocked out or destroyed, and local air superiority over Iran seems pretty much total. And also, on the first day of the attack, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and numerous senior Iranian commanders and officials were killed in the initial U.S.-Israeli strikes. These are the strikes on February 28th. Now, there's been some Iranian retaliation, including missile drone attacks on U.S. bases, U.S. embassies in the Gulf area, along with Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain. There's been some attacks on American and Israeli energy infrastructure and Israel. Now, Iranian ally Hezbollah has escalated their rocket and drone barrages into Israel and into American bases in the area. And there have been clashes in southern Lebanon as well. Now, my understanding is that Iran has declared the Straits of Hormuz closed, disrupting shipping and spiking global oil prices. And the insurance companies have gone along with that, saying they don't want the ships going through the Straits of Hormuz anymore. So essentially, those straits are closed to international traffic. There are also, near as I can tell, about 780, 790 reported deaths in Iran as of about lunch today. These figures came from the Red Crescent, the Muslim version of the Red Cross, and they include civilians. Now, the total regional toll exceeds 800, with maybe 24 U.S. losses, including at least 6 service members killed. And U.S. embassies have closed and evacuation orders across the region. So all the American civilians are getting out. I imagine those sorts of closures are happening to other nations as well. In Canada, anybody with an embassy in the area wants to get their people out right now. Now, U.S. President Donald Trump has described the preemptive operation as being aimed at regime change, although nobody really wants to say that publicly. Trump said so. He warned of prolonged fighting, potentially 4 or 5 weeks, with harder hits ahead. I've seen independent commentators say that after 5 weeks, the U.S. government runs out of bullets in the area, so they got to come to a conclusion before then. I've also heard that they were looking for regime change on day one, and since the government didn't immediately collapse, that part of their plan doesn't seem to have totally worked. Now, from Canada's perspective, the Canadian government has issued a high-level alert to critical operators, warning that Canada is now a prime target for cyber warfare and terrorist attacks, retaliatory in Iranian cyber warfare attacks. The concern from Canada's perspective focuses on the vulnerability of Canadian power grids, financial institutions, and water systems. We are officially a middle power closely aligned with the U.S., and we often serve as a soft target for state-sponsored hackers looking to disrupt Western stability without triggering a direct military confrontation with Washington. At least that's according to the Canadian government. And the Canadian Communications and Security Establishment has reportedly moved to its highest readiness level in years. So that's what's going on now. Richard, I was hoping you could tell me a little bit of the context for what's going on here.
Right now, I'm waiting for Iran to run out of bombs and bullets. They're just basically shooting everything right now.
Yes.
Everything that whatever they have in their arsenal, they're just throwing it away.
Okay.
So I don't know really if there's much else other than the fact that you just made a comment there that the U.S. is going to run out of bullets soon. I don't think so.
The story I heard is that the U.S. is going to run out of bullets over the next 4 or 5 weeks. That's their stockpile in the Middle East right now.
In the Middle East.
Yeah, they may be able to certainly they may be able to put to bring some new ones over the next 5 weeks. But
oh yeah, they will.
Even the United States isn't omnipotent.
Yeah, they're going to take care of that very quickly. As a matter of fact, they're just shooting off. Only the U.S. is strategically shooting off to the various locations, whereas Iran is just shooting off everything that they can to any place, and they don't care where the bombs land.
And that's fair. I've heard that they're commonly hitting civilian targets in places like Tel Aviv and across the Middle East.
Yep. So that's my view, anyways. It's happening. I'm sort of sitting here saying, okay, well, I'm not going to pay much attention right now until I see more action.
Okay.
But the thing that was interesting was that school, the all-girls school that supposedly got bombed and killed all the students.
Yes.
That I think is a distraction. I think Iran did that themselves.
Okay.
I don't think that the U.S. the way they've been doing their shooting, they're watching where everything's going, and they know exactly where they're supposed to be. So destroying a school wouldn't have been something that they wanted to do.
And I've heard that the school, about 150 school children were killed in that.
Yeah, that's and of course they had the funeral procession down the streets today. I saw a truck with a trailer with all these coffins on the back.
Ouch.
They were doing I think Iran just did that for show, just to make sure that they could get the people on their side. Oh, we're doing good. We're helping you.
What do you think of U.S. President Donald Trump's comment He was asked about regime change. He said that is what we were looking for. And then the reporter said, well, who do you look to take over the country? And Trump said, well, most of those leaders are already dead.
Yeah, I know. I know. When I heard that, who's going to take over? Well, it turns out that every time somebody starts to step up, they get killed.
Ouch.
So basically, nobody's stepping up anymore. Because they know they're going to die.
Mm-hmm. So that's I can see that. I would imagine anybody who wants to stay alive and wants to go into leadership in the future is I don't know, gone to Bahrain.
Yeah, they better not be be able to be associated to this regime that's being taken down.
Yes.
Because if they are, then they're going to be they won't be allowed back in. They're going to be shot someplace. They're going to be prevented from participating anymore because you have to get rid of all of the evil before you say, okay, well, no, now we're going to provide elections and things like that.
Yeah.
If you have any one of those still left in there, they're going to lie their way in and they're going to bring back everything that they've been doing so far.
What do you think about snide Israeli comments about how, good God, we're going to get Iran right where we want it. Next time we can go to Turkey.
I haven't heard about that.
I've heard rumors that Israel has a list of things they want to encourage the Americans to help them take out.
Well, why Turkey? I don't think Turkey's been doing anything bad for them.
To be fair, I was being frivolous. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because as far as I know, Iran has always been a threat to Israel, and Israel's always been a threat to Iran.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Well, ever since the Shah was kicked out.
And that is one thing you're going to mention to me, but you haven't brought up yet. There are some quarters that argue this is not a new war. This is the end game of a war going back to the 1980s when the Shah was overthrown.
That's right, 1979, when Congress allowed the president declared war on Iran.
Okay.
But it's never been rescinded.
Hmm.
That's why it's still a 47-year war, and Trump is saying he's going to end this war. So
I find that fascinating. I didn't know that. That I think is fascinating.
Yeah, well, I've been watching all this research that's been done by other people, and of course, when they talked about this 47-year war, I just right away the thing that clicked to me is that, yeah, I remember that the Shah being kicked out. That was something that the government, the Congress said, go ahead. But the thing is, so he did. And then Canada was involved in that too, in getting the kidnapped Americans out of there.
Getting the 50 people out of the country.
Yeah. So anyways, but after that was done, they never came back and said, okay, well, we're done with that war.
Mm-hmm.
So they never basically rescinded anything, which means that what Trump is doing is completely legal. And these people who are complaining that Congress needs to give him approval, Congress already gave him approval 47 years ago.
So. How about fair, but interesting? How about that? I find that interesting.
It is very interesting. And yet the mainstream media doesn't acknowledge that. They do say that, the 47-year, they talk about the 47-year, but they don't talk about the fact that nothing was taken out after that was done, after what was deemed done. So Trump still has his mandate by Congress. The war mandate.
Wasn't his mandate, was it? It was Jimmy Carter's mandate?
At that time, yeah. At that time. But it's still the President of the United States who's got that mandate.
And how about one that's fair? One more question before going on to the next piece, Richard. Yep. What do you think the end game's going to be in Iran?
I'm hoping that this is going to be the case, that the people of Iran will be smart enough to say, okay, we're going to have more of a democratic, we're going to go back to what the Shah had. It might have been a kingdom, but the thing is, though, is that it was far better. They might go back to a kingdom, or they might just go to a Democrat system. But the problem is the Democratic elections. The problem is they have to create all the different parties to have democratic elections. And of course, are these parties going to be still having the remnants of this regime here, or are they going to be 100% Democrats and Republicans, basically?
You're not sounding convinced, that the end game will be successful for the Americans.
Yeah, I just don't see it right now. Well, I see it being successful for the Americans. I just don't see it being successful for the Iranians.
Fair comment.
Yeah, the Americans are going to get what they're trying to achieve, but the Iranians and the Iranians want to be able to govern themselves, but they're not stepping up and being very, very vocal about it because they don't know what to do, really.
I would also argue that substantial portions of the intellectual class in Iran were killed in the protests 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh yeah, probably very true there.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go on to the next piece. I think you're right. I think the end game is not clear. I think the Americans will get what they want out of this. The Israelis will get what they want out of this. Closer cooperation with the Americans. They've already got that. But Iran, the future of Iran is up in the air right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, also in the news this week, this one is close to where you are. It's a story that originally came out without much fanfare. And it was a press release from the government. It's the February 20th, 2026 Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs Canada press release under the title, Musqueam and Canada Sign Historic Agreements Recognizing Rights, Stewardship, and Fisheries. And this press release, after a week where nobody noticed it seems to have set off a tempest in Canada's political teapot. Now, the press release essentially outlines a series of documents signed by the federal government and the Musqueam, I hope I pronounced that correct, Indian band, which seems to formally recognize their title and rights over a significant portion of metropolitan Vancouver, including the downtown and most of the most valuable land in Canada, to be fair. The announcement includes 3 specific pillars or documents designed to implement Indigenous rights incrementally. Not this week, maybe not next week, but certainly eventually. And this is according to the March 2nd, the Swarovski report post on landmark agreements. Now, the 3 documents signed between the government and the band include a rights recognition agreement providing recognition of Musqueam's unextinguished rights to the region. And this includes water rights, natural resources, and land titles, according to the documentation. Now, it also includes a stewardship and marine management agreement establishing collaborative groups, including Musqueam groups, to protect and manage the region's water and resources. And it also includes a fisheries agreement providing funding and a framework for shared decision-making going forward. Now, the story first broke on February 28th. Even though the press release came out on the 20th, the first real story was the February 28th Daily Hive post under the title, Government of Canada's landmark agreement recognizes Musqueam First Nations Aboriginal title in Metro Vancouver. Now, the story essentially went viral on March 1st after being promoted on social media by commentators like Unpublished Media, which detailed the secret nature of the federal government's negotiations. According to Unpublished Media, the federal government didn't want to tell anybody what they had done. Now, the story crept into headlines once legal experts and opposition politicians began questioning the specific geographic boundaries, which include some of Canada's most expensive real estate. Is that you, Richard?
Yeah, my virus scan.
Oh, okay. I will ignore it.
That's it. Yeah, ignore it. Yeah.
What I find most interesting is the provincial government's claim that they were not briefed on the treaty, and objections to the treaties have spiked. Came out that the Liberal MP of Vancouver Quadra is also a senior member of the Musqueam band, and he's probably the person who is negotiating this deal, but nobody knows for sure because the government wants to keep all the details secret. Now, there's also the March 2nd, 2026 Canuck Law Post, which I find amusing, under the title Cowichan Tribes, How the Parties Concealed the Case from the Public, which this story doesn't directly relate to the current situation. It relates to last year's court decision favoring the Cowichan tribe in their court case to get some land in downtown Toronto. But the article from Canuck Law also seems to be saying a lot of concerning things about the intentional secrecy of various levels of Canadian governments and how they treat all native land claims. They try and hide them, but offer the natives whatever they want. Now, to be fair, there's also a really old post, a December 9th, 2025 National Post story, 2 months old at this point, under the title Adam Pankratz, BC's reconciliation nightmare gets even worse. That story notes that a BC court recently ruled that all provincial laws must be interpreted through the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Richard, I think that means you should never buy property in downtown Vancouver. What do you think?
Well, definitely. You got to watch out what you're buying now in BC because they signed up for the UNDRIP. Now anything's fair game right now.
They did, and their government's negotiating, the provincial government's negotiating their stuff, and the federal government's negotiating their stuff, and the only one who can't negotiate are homeowners and property owners.
Right. So they're going to lose. Anybody who buys property in Vancouver basically is going to lose. Because it's going to get taken away from them.
The tribe insists that they are not looking for land title, even though I read through these 3 times, the documents say they got land title.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's a lie.
Yeah.
Go figure, huh?
But how do you deal with the government that intentionally lies and signs off on secret agreements?
Yeah, there's really nothing that you can do with those idiots that are doing that. It's got to be made more public, and I think it's public. Well, I know that people out here are talking about it.
Yes,
so they're aware of it, and they're not going to allow that to happen. They don't care what the government has agreed to. They're going to stand up for their rights and not allow anybody to take over their land.
Yeah, that will be hard. If they take out Vancouver, you guys up there are gonna have to set up barricades and load your weapons.
Well, that's what just happened. I mean, these guys are rednecks here. So definitely they'll take over.
Any more comments before we move on to the next piece?
Nope.
This is another scary one. This is something I didn't really know about. Uh, this is a piece about AI at war. And it's worth noting that what began as a contract negotiation, there's a lot of contract negotiations in the show this week. This contract negotiation is between the US government and two San Francisco based artificial intelligence developers. And it has evolved into a high profile clash over national security, corporate responsibility, and AI governance. And we begin with company called Anthropic. It's an AI startup officially emphasizing safety, at least according to the February 28th New York Times post on the topic under the title, Pentagon Standoff is a decisive moment for how AI will be used in war. Now, Anthropic officially secured a $200 million Pentagon contract in July 2025 to integrate its AI model, called Claude AI, into classified military systems. And at the time, Anthropic demanded contractual prohibitions against using its technology for domestic mass surveillance, which I approve of, or using its technology for fully autonomous weapon systems that could kill people without any human oversight. So there has to be an off switch that people can access for all these tools, at least according to Anthropic. However, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth rejected these red lines. In an interview a couple days back, he viewed them as undue restrictions on what he called lawful military applications. And one day later, US President Trump ordered all federal agencies to cease using Anthropic's tools, labeling the company a supply chain risk. I don't know. Trump wants the weapons to work the way he wants them. He wants to work. He wants to have no safeguards, at least according to Anthropic, and so he canceled the contract. Now, hours after Trump canceled the contract, Anthropic competitor OpenAI announced a deal to provide its AI system to those classified military networks. Now, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman asserted that his AI included stronger safeguards than Anthropic's agreement with the U.S. government, and it included all the other bans, the bans on unlawful uses like domestic surveillance, the bans against killing people without human intervention. But no one believes Sam Altman, especially after Pete Hegseth's original comments and the U.S. president's action banning Anthropic from the government contract. And it's worth noting that other labs like Google and XAI are also negotiating deals with the US government. I also think it's worth noting that AI companies mostly don't have a business model for any private sector sales and are currently entirely dependent on US government military contracts for their cash flow. They've got no business model. At some point, they're all going to crash and burn, but not before they suck up every bit of money from the US government. Yep. And finally, I think it's worth noting that the world is running out of RAM, mostly because the AI companies are building out massive server farms to store all the data they need to make their products sort of function. And finally, it's also worth noting that all those conspiracy theories about central bank digital currencies and the panopticons intended to permanently enslave and maybe kill us all off mostly depend on functional AI to track our every thought and action. Sorry about the diatribe, Richard. You've got some strong views on this, I think.
No, not really. I mean, the RAM issue is a big issue. These big companies are chewing it all up, and they're not able to produce enough RAM fast enough. Yeah, and also the new systems require even better and faster RAM. So that is another big issue that needs to be dealt with. That's not just the AI that's chewing it all up, but it's also the the cryptocurrency.
Yes.
They're chewing it all up too. So that just makes you buying a new computer more expensive, or else you're not going to buy a very powerful computer.
Now you're going to buy something that doesn't really do much more except download YouTube videos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it allows you to surf the web, and that's about it. So guess what? Yeah. That's your phone.
Yeah. But what do you think about the U.S. government's wish to hire Skynet for its AI functions?
Skynet, doesn't that sound familiar?
Yeah.
The Terminator.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's Hollywood basically has already written that script. So you go and watch the Terminator movies and you'll see what the plan is, what's going to happen.
I don't like the idea of plugging in an AI and giving it free will to do whatever it wants, including killing people.
Right. Yeah.
I also remember a movie from the 1970s called Colossus, the Forbin Project, which dealt with much the same things.
Yeah, and I did a story. I believe this morning I did the story. It's something that they've invented or they created that basically is like the Terminator. You know how the Terminator used to be able to walk through the bars? His body would be sliced up and put back together around the other side of the bars. Yeah, they got something that does that now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So we just, a movie, a conspiracy theory, and reality is just a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. It's all facts now. It's no longer theories.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah. No comments on the American government's wants?
Well, they want to have the AI, of course, for what they want to do with it.
Yeah.
And of course, that is not something that is legitimate.
I think so too. I don't think they should use the AI for spying on us. First off, I don't think that'll work.
No.
I think it's too easy to salt phony information for the AI, and everybody thinks. Yeah, you go.
How do you prevent other countries from not using AI against you?
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think the internet's already breaking up. Nobody's going to have universal data. It'll be just another weapon system that doesn't work any better than the previous ones.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, now that Facebook has prevented me from doing lives, I mean, look at that, for no reason whatsoever.
They just think you're sketchy.
Well, they claimed that one of the videos that I was playing at the beginning of my shows,
yes,
was promoting human trafficking, but it was actually showing human trafficking to the people.
So you were attempting to discourage it.
I was, yeah, exactly. The video definitely tries to discourage it.
Yeah.
So, but yet Facebook said, nope, well, I'm promoting it. And I'm sitting there, no, you guys are idiots.
Yeah, well, they have an intentional bias. They benefit from people not knowing what's really going on in the real world.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Or it's an AI. Their AI system might have detected that and said that's what it is.
I hope AI crashes and burns fairly soon. I think it's a stupid program. I think it's wasting money. And I think if we have distributed AI, if we all get an AI, then I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to our next piece.
Absolutely.
In other news this week, the March 3rd, 2026 Global News Post under the title, "The BC government has decided to adopt permanent daylight savings time after springing forward one more time." That was complemented by another piece, the March 2nd, 2026 Edmonton Journal Post, Alberta may follow BC on making daylight time permanent, according to the Premier. I sort of think this may be signaling the end of that long-standing tradition of moving the clocks ahead 1 hour every spring and back 1 hour every fall. And according to the two stories, BC is dropping the changes this Sunday after one final switch forward, and Alberta will do the same after evaluating the BC change. Are you up for those changes, Richard?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How come?
I'm just sick and tired of this twice a year thing that basically messes up your body. And of course,
I like it in November. I get an extra hour.
Yeah, but once you're on one time zone, it won't matter anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's sort of a pain to remember this stuff.
Yeah, that's why I've been telling people, whenever you're putting the time of your show or the time of your event, don't put PST or PDT, just put PT or put AT or MT or whatever it might be. But do not put the D or the S in there, because that is useless. And, and
of course, you told me that for months.
The other thing is that when you're doing that, then you've got to spend more money when it's time to do the change on all your web pages to show the correct MST or MDT. Yes. And so basically with Not TV, I was saying, no, we never do that. We're just going to use Mountain Time, Pacific Time, and that's it. None of this daylight saving or standard time.
Well, it looks like the rest of the world is starting to come along with you.
Yeah, it's funny. Trump had campaigned on that he was going to get rid of daylight saving time. So is EB basically saying, okay, well, if Trump's going to be doing it, we'll just do it now?
Yeah. Trump hasn't officially said he was going to do that yet, has he?
No, but he did campaign on that he was going to get rid of that.
He did. Maybe he just forgot about it. He's got a lot of stuff on his plate.
But that one would be a simple thing for him to do. Just one executive order and it's done.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Also in the news this week, the February 27th Rebel News on YouTube video, Adam Skelly's barbecue rebellion trial ends. Court whitewashed COVID tyranny. That piece notes the windup of the third day of Adam Skelly's trial last Friday. The trial is because in November 2021, Skelly defied draconian and nonsensical COVID-19 lockdown rules by opening his West End Toronto eatery for 3 days. And David Menzies from Rebel News says it better than me. So here's his piece on the story.
Do you regret the links that there have been?
Wrong one. What? My apologies. Here we go, the right one.
This was the suspension of charter rights. If the government decides to do this again, we need to set the precedent of how and why, or why they cannot ever do something like this again without producing the evidence.
But I wonder if you've had any feedback from Adam Skelly in terms of what's gone down these past 3 days.
I think he shares my sentiment that he's relieved that he's finally had his day in court after all these years.
David Menzies for Rebel News outside the Ontario Superior Court of Justice in downtown Toronto. And well, that's a wrap, folks. The 3-day constitutional challenge regarding the COVID-19 mandates has wrapped. The applicant was Adam Skelly, the owner of Adamson Barbecue. And the respondents were the province of Ontario, the city of Toronto, the city's Board of Health, and Dr. Eileen Davila, who was the medical officer of health at the time. And when I say at the time, we go back to November 2021, when Mr. Skelly said, that's it with the lockdowns. He complied with 2 weeks to flatten the curve. He complied with the further lockdowns during the so-called second wave. But by this point, he needed to make a living, and his staff needed jobs, and his customers wanted the best barbecue in town. So he opened his barbecue, and well, it was The authorities, they were not amused. Mr. Skelly was fined. He was trespassed on his own property, if you can believe it. He was incarcerated for over 30 hours. He was put into bankruptcy, and get this, he still owes the city $187,000 for what? Oh, for the cost of policing, including the mounted unit, which was unnecessarily sent in on day 3 of the rebellion.
Yep. So he got what he wanted. He got what he wanted.
He got his day in court. He's not got a decision yet. The judge is expected to take several weeks before making a decision. And I kind of think that decision is going to be appealed no matter who wins.
Yeah. But they're going to have to show that there was a law that he broke.
The first day of that case, I followed. The government representatives didn't say that. They tried to use judicial privilege. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And that doesn't work anymore.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I think we had a hand in that. We wrote, I think it was just the first piece about that 2 years ago or something at this point. So maybe we've done a little bit of good over the last little while.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, when I was recording the rallies down in Calgary, the day that Adam was there, and along with Chris Sky and everybody else, the people that there must have been about 10,000 people there.
Yeah,
and he was feeding them donations on the food that he had brought in.
Yeah, he's a good man. To be fair, he was beating up something fierce mentally, not so much physically, but he lost his businesses. He declared bankruptcy. I imagine he eventually moved to Alberta.
He did, and he bought a farm out here.
Well, good for him. At least he gets some. He's been working hard. I think there's been half dozen times when this case was about to get thrown out of the court. So I'm glad it at least was heard in court.
Yeah. Well, the thing about this farm, apparently it's an organic farm.
Yes.
So he's going to make a lot of money on that.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah. When you go organic, you're going to get so many people lining up for a product.
That's not bad. I've heard good stories about that. I wish him the best of luck no matter what happens.
Yeah.
And I hope the hell he wins his court case.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think he will.
Let's go on. What?
I think he will. He'll be very successful.
Let's go on to the next piece.
Sure.
Here is something that I found interesting. A March 1st, 2026 post on X, which insists that Canada's living standards are collapsing in a socialist doom loop. Post is from Wall Street Maeve, a poster on X, and he says some interesting things about the country. And they include a number of points. Canada's GDP per capita was 94% of America's in 1981. Today, it's 67%. That's the widest gap since the end of World War II. Ontario is now poorer than 43 U.S. states, including Louisiana and Alabama. And the poster calls it a hiccup, not a collapse. And also from 2017 to 2024, U.S. productivity grew 10.1%, and Canada's productivity during the same period fell almost a full percent. He also noted that the U.S. spends 3.4% of its GDP on research and development, and Canada spends less than half that. Also noted that housing prices are 50% to 100% higher in Canada compared to the USA, and our incomes are 30% lower. So he's not very nice to Canadians. He finishes up by noting that Canadians spend 40% of their income on a mortgage, and the average American pays only 34% of their income on a mortgage. I also note the February 27th John Nesbitt on Facebook post. Under the title, "This is my grocery haul shopping at an American Walmart, and it only cost me $97 US." That piece on Facebook notes that Canadians are being ripped off at the grocery store. The author also notes that $97 US converts to about 132 Canadian dollars, and states that if I bought the same items or their equivalent in Canada, the total would cost about $300.
Yep.
Don't you feel poor?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting? The numbers. These are just numbers, but they're not being qualified.
How so?
I don't see any data to show what he's talking about. I mean, show that there was one that showed that Canada went down to 1.6%. I can't remember what that was. But the thing is, though, is that you have to look at why is that happening.
Yes.
In Canada, we're over-regulated.
Yes.
And those regulations are what's causing all these issues.
I tend to agree.
Yeah.
It costs so much to put up a house or to do anything in Canada these days.
That's right. So you have to realize that if you get rid of all the regulations, which is what Trump has been doing,
yes,
he's been getting rid of a lot of them. And he's basically said, nope, we're not going to do that. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to let those regulations go. They're no good anymore. Yes. They never were any good in the first place, which is what he was saying. And in Canada, we're not doing that. We're still got all these regulations and rules and that you got to follow in order to do anything. Now, as soon as you start doing that, then your costs go up.
Yes.
So basically, anybody who's got money, they're not going to spend it on that type of stuff. Building a new house for somebody else, it's going to cost them a ton of money because of all the regulations that need to be followed and adhered to.
Yes.
So there's just no point in doing anything, which is why people are not working.
Yes.
So go figure.
I can see a lot of what you're saying. My concern is I don't see anybody in public in the public space talking about how we should change this.
Yeah, I know. Living out in the bush here, there are no regulations.
I thought I was living out in the bush, but there are a lot of regulations out here.
Yeah, out here, no regulations. You can do whatever you want. You can build whatever you want. If you decide to put a concrete basement into your place, that may cause an issue with some of the idiot bureaucrats. But if you're building a house on top of footings, on top of your pedestals, then they're not going to touch you because the house is not permanent as far as they're concerned. But when you put a basement in, then it's permanent. That's why they come in and they say, "Oh, you got to have all this stuff." No, you don't need to. You can say, "Bye-bye. We're doing it our way."
Too much regulations. I do agree that they are. I don't know if I agree with Mark Carney in that we need a policy in place that allows almost anybody in government to avoid almost any rule or regulation that's not criminal. But I do think we got too many rules and regulations going on here.
Oh, yeah, the people are over-regulated, over-controlled here in this country.
Yeah.
Whereas, and of course, I don't feel like I'm controlled at all because I do what I want when I want, and I don't care what some bureaucrat might say.
Yeah, I mostly do that as well. But once a week, I do this with you, and I pretend I care. Shall we go on to the next piece? This is something I actually do care about. I find it shocking. Here we go. The U.S. government has released videos of Bill and Hillary Clinton testifying before the House Oversight Committee. Now, as outlined in the March 3rd CBS News post under the title Videos of Bill and Hillary Clinton and Their Epstein Testimony has been released by the House committee. And according to CBS News, both denied any knowledge of the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And according to the Post, Hillary Clinton testified last Thursday while Bill appeared before the committee a day later. And the video of Bill Clinton's testimony runs 4 hours and 33 minutes, while Hillary's testimony is 4 hours and 35 minutes long. She's a few minutes more long-winded than he is. And
She's a lawyer.
You what?
She's a lawyer. That's why.
Yeah, I would argue that both of them were shocked, I tell you, that gambling was going on in this establishment. Now, I know they lied. I think it's really obvious they lied. The fallout from Jeffrey Epstein's criminal network has led to a historic wave of resignations and legal actions against powerful figures across the globe. Bill and Hillary will get their time eventually, but as of now, the following key individuals have faced significant consequences. And these are just the top of the list. Ghislaine Maxwell, the former Prince Andrew, Pete Mandelson, the former British diplomat, they've all been arrested. Leon Black from Apollo Global Management, Jess Staley from Barclays, Larry Summers from OpenAI and Harvard University. They've all had to resign following intense scrutiny of their ties to Epstein. More recently, Burj Brenda from the World Economic Forum, who you'd expect to hang around Epstein, also resigned from the position at the World Economic Forum. Thomas Pritzker, who used to work at the Hyatt Hotel, and Brad Karp, who seemed to work for a company called Paul Weiss, they stepped down from their leadership roles as well. And I like this. Norwegian officials Thornborg Jagland and Mona Jewel resigned amid investigations into their financial links, while Slovakian advisor Miroslav Jalak stepped down following the release of compromising emails. So given that there's 3 million emails and Epstein seems to know everybody in the entire world, it's kind of nice that we've got a dozen people who are going to have to suffer for some of their malfeasance. Nothing serious has turned out. Illegal activities haven't come up unless they're related to sexual peccadillos. No baby eating, no drug running, no major crimes yet, but I'm sure they will eventually come out. And I think the next domino to fall will likely be a gentleman named Les Wexner. He's on the left of this photo. He is a very early Epstein friend. He's an American businessman. He calls himself a political activist as well. And he owned Victoria's Secret, and he used his fortune and access to models from Victoria's Secret to facilitate Epstein's early success. I think he's a pig, Richard. What do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely. When I heard that story a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but the thing that's really frustrating is that if you watch the eyes of Hillary and Bill in their interview and all that stuff,
yeah,
they're lying. You can tell.
you don't even. There was a point when Hillary was being cross-examined by the committee, and they showed her a picture of Bill in Epstein's hot tub. I don't know if it was on the island or in New York, and he was there with like 4 hot women. Yep. And they asked her how she felt about this, and she snapped back, "I'm not here to give you my feelings."
Right. Yeah, that's a lawyer's response.
Yeah. I think she's a good read. I think she's a good lawyer. I also think she's a sleazebag. I think they embezzled a lot of money out of Haiti, and there was like child trafficking going on there at that time, and maybe they made money from that.
Yeah.
And then there was also the connections they sold, the under the table biddings and dealings they made, and I don't think they're nice people.
No, definitely not.
But by the same token, I'm shocked as hell. All the people who've been arrested are from England. All the people who lost their jobs are mostly from outside the United States. Nobody in the U.S., nobody in Canada has been brought to justice.
Yep, I know, and you're probably not going to see any for years and years and years.
Ouch, that hurts.
Yeah, come here, Rocky. You want to help?
What does Rocky think about the Epsteins?
Well, I think he's just kind of bored with all the stuff I do here.
You want to go on to our last piece?
Sure.
This is the one which I started earlier and then dropped out to do the Adamson's barbecue piece. This is the Mongo Minds on BitChute post from February 28th, I believe. In 2018, a man named Diego Aviles discovered a mysterious coin, which seems to have Hillary Clinton on it.
Well, this is actually something more related to time travel.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll probably be shocked when you see this. And if it's true, theatrics, you can create all sorts of things. But if it's true, then we're able to do time travel.
Here we go.
Do you regret the links that there have been?
You know, we have no links. We have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about, which my husband has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did on a few occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative. So it to me is not something that is really at the heart of what this matter is about. They are accused, and in both cases were convicted of horrific crimes against girls
seem to be the right
and
one.
women. That should be the focus. And we are more than happy to say what we know, which is very limited and totally unrelated to their behavior or their crimes. And we want to do it in...
Did I get that one wrong?
I think I posted the wrong one to you.
Ouch.
It says it's about that. Anyways, I'll just give you a brief description of it.
Okay.
This guy, Diego, found a coin, and the date on it and also the symbols on it are Nazi, but the date was 2039.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So coin from the future and the Nazis symbol.
So the Nazis won after all.
Well, the thing is, though, is if it's time travel, then something happened that caused that coin to show up somewhere, which is really odd.
I went to the Mongo Minds page under that title, a man named Diego Aviles.
Yeah.
And I got Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. So I must have posted the wrong one, and my NAS drive is not running right now, so I can't really go and take a look to see where that one is. Otherwise, I'd play it. So we'll probably have to wait, and maybe we'll be able to do this one next time.
We will do this next time. I would enjoy doing that next time.
Yeah. Okay.
As for right now, I think we should wind up. What's on your plate for the next couple of days?
Let's see now. Today is, what day is it today? Tuesday? No.
Yes. March 3rd.
Yes. So tomorrow I'm traveling. I'll be taking my day off. And then I'll be working with my UPS batteries, the new ones that came in today. Mm-hmm. And then Thursday, I'll be doing my show. I'll be doing one show. That's right, too. Of course, the NAS drive is not running right now, so I can't tell you what the name of the show is. And then Friday, I'm editing my shows for that. I've got 3 stories lined up in there right now. I have to find the other ones, the other 5 stories yet. Mm-hmm. They're going to be a little bit more recent instead of way back, because I'm getting the most current stories put into there.
Okay.
So Anyways, yeah, Friday will be the 8 stories. Then, of course, Sunday we're going to be back here again with
another episode of Roasting the Press.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll see if I can get this particular story put up there, the correct one.
Absolutely. And your shows start way too early in the morning, 7:30 a.m. Pacific time.
Yeah. And I've had a few people, apparently they've been contacting Kathy and others to find out why they're not seeing it on Facebook. Because I've been banned from doing lives on Facebook. So to get around that, I do my lives on Twitch, but I'll provide you with a link to the Twitch on Facebook so that you can click on the link in Facebook and it'll bring you to the live.
That is a good idea. Sorry about that. I suppose you're flying too close to the truth.
Well, they claim that one of my videos that I was playing at the beginning of the show promoted human trafficking. It doesn't promote it. It shows that human trafficking is taking place. And
the first step towards stopping it is to acknowledge its existence.
Well, I guess so, but I mean, you got to make sure that people know that it exists.
Yeah.
So, and they banned me from doing lives, which, as far as I know, it's permanent. As far as I know, it's permanent. But people, you'll find it if you watch for the links on Facebook. I'll provide to you as soon as I start doing my show. I'll put the links up there, and you can click on it, and away you go.
So you can watch it.
And it's still live stream.
That sounds like a good idea. I post mine on Facebook as well, and they haven't banned me. So I might see if I can post on your Facebook page.
Yeah, I doubt very much you'll be able to do a live stream onto my Facebook stream page because you have to have permission from the creator of the account, who is Travis, but he's out of the picture now. So
you're the only one who can do it. Oh well.
No, I can't even do that because I didn't have authority to do it. Only Travis did.
Wow.
So
that is a long story.
That is.
And I wish you the best of luck with that.
Well, life goes on.
Yes. And life goes on also at Freedom Forum. Last week today normally records every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on a variety of internet platforms, including the one you're watching. We republish the next day with notes on our Substack page at chuckblack.substack.com. And most of our stories slide behind a paywall after a month online. So if you want to keep access, you should sign up for a monthly subscription. $20 Canadian per month, $160 per year. This entitles you to access pretty much everything over a month old. Plus includes lots of in-depth articles not covered in our regular stories. We also have the Substack app to help you access Freedom Forum stories from your phone, and subscriber chat so you can tell us what you really, really want. And that's pretty much it for tonight. I'm Chuck Black. I directed the show using StreamYards, which both Richard and I recommend, but only if you sign up using either Richard's or my link. We get a little bonus out of this at the end of each month to help defray some of our costs, and every little penny helps. As for this show, we will be up on Substack tomorrow, and we'll be back next Tuesday at 8 p.m. with another episode of Last Week Today, and we will be back next Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time with another edition of Roasting the Press. How'd I do, Richard?
That's perfect.
In that case, good night, everybody. We'll be back in a couple of days. Good night.
See ya.